Uncle Mort's North Country by Peter Tinnerswood.
It was the fourth day of Carter Brandon's holiday. The sun bounded joyously through the sky, yapping at skylark and mill-plumed smoke. Dogs slumbered in the shade of stunted apple trees. Deep underground, moles crunched juicily at worms.
I'll tell you what, Carter.
What?
It's the perfect day for a sheepdog trial, is this?
Is it?
Certainly, lad, certainly. There's not been a day in the long and arduous history of the human race that's not been perfect for a sheepdog trial.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's what caused the downfall of Bertrand Russell and his terriers, isn't it?
Pardon?
Bertrand Russell, lad. He was to dogs what Phil Drabble is to ill-fitting jackets. Right then, shall we go to a sheepdog trial then?
Aye, why not? Someone's got to support the sheep, haven't they?
They looked in their local newspaper, and sure enough, there was a sheepdog trial taking place that very afternoon. They prepared themselves meticulously for the outing. They disinfected the insides of their Wellington boots, they fumigated their mufflers, they rubbed Bob Martin's powders into the peaks of their cloth caps, and they wormed the tumble-dryer.
Do you like George Mellacrino, Carter?
Who's George Mellacrino?
Well, I think he was a sort of ice cream in the days of rationing.
They climbed into the old Ford Zodiac. It grunted at them sullenly and rattled its ashtrays.
Bloody thing. Should be grateful to be in work at its time of life.
The car droned listlessly up slim suburban hills. They passed a poodle parlour and an overgroomed wine bar. The sun purred in the mop-head canopies of copper beeches. It smirked in the blonde highlights of a young woman yapping at a wizened Shetland sheepdog.
Women. I can't fathom them out, Carter. I don't know what God was thinking of when he made men different from women. Well, I know it's been the making of ladies' netball, but dear, oh dear, what a price to pay for mixed ballroom dancing. Of course, some people maintain that women was created for the sole purpose of the propagation of the species. Well, I never reckoned much to that activity at the best of times. Vastly overrated. All that grunting and sharp toenails.
They reached the open moorlands with dry stone walls like crumbling children's teeth. Grouse chuckled.
Ah, you see, Carter, you see, it's a well-known fact that marriage is an unnatural institution for men.
Is it?
Certainly, lad, certainly. Well, there are some institutions what it is eminently natural for a man to join. The Cyclist Touring Club, or the Old Comrades Christian Piss-Up Club. But in marriage, you're signing your life away. You see, Carter, marriage wouldn't be half so bad if you could keep it in the family. That's why I reckon that bugger Oedipus had got the right idea.
Why?
Well, because he wanted to keep it in the family, Pillock. He wanted to marry his mother. For the sole and simple reason he were used to her cooking, and he knew she'd iron his socks proper and not singe his singlets. Do you know who I'd have married, if it hadn't been customary for a man to marry a woman?
Who?
King George V.
Well, I suppose you could have done a lot worse for yourself.
Oh, certainly, lad. And I'd never have been short of a ticket for the Headingley Test, would I?
They crossed a shallow packhorse bridge spanning a clattering, wag-tailed stream. High above the gaunt-throated crags, gliders soared on lazy thermals. Presently, Carter Brandon swung the car over the cattle grid guarding the entrance to the narrow, rubbled lane which led to the fields where the sheepdog trial was to be held.
Carter, there's something been bothering me about you.
What's that?
Were you ever conversant with a Nona Wynne?
No.
Oh, good. Neither was I.
They reached the trial grounds. Uncle Mort and Carter Brandon bought themselves pints of bitter from a slopping beer tent and made their way to the remotest part of the field. They stumbled over hoof-hard thickets of tangled grass. They slid down ice-smooth banks. They puffed and wheezed up shifting rocky escarpments.
Oh, no wonder sheep always look so bloody miserable, eh, Carter?
They settled themselves out of the breeze in the lee of a lonely mountain ash, and Uncle Mort said,
Pursuing my theme, Carter.
What theme?
Marriage. Now, when I talk to youngsters about it, I always give them two pieces of advice. First, never marry a woman with a bad cough. On certain occasions it can be very painful. Second, never marry a beautiful woman.
Why?
Yeah, Carter, I sometimes think you're still wet behind the ears, lad. Have you not noticed something very distinctive about nice people?
No, what?
They've always got more relations than people like us. And what do relations do?
I don't know, what?
They're forever round at your house, borrowing your colander, annoying the canary and using up all your toilet paper. Above all, there's constant laughter. Bloody awful, Carter. A marital home should be a haven of despair and desolation. An oasis of inhospitality. And there's only a very ugly woman with a very ugly temper who'll give you that.
I see.
My late wife was ugliness personified, Carter.
Was she?
Certainly, lad, certainly. I served all through the First World War, and I've never seen such an horrendous sight as your Auntie Edna. I used to charge me mates half a woodbine each to watch her blackleading the tram lines on a Sunday morning. Queuing up in droves they was. No wonder I've got such a dreadful smoker's cough. I'll never forget her visits to our house when we was courting. Well, they weren't exactly visits. It was more like visitations. Strange things used to happen, Carter. The water would curdle of an instant in the goldfish bowl. The bantams would stop laying. The pigeons would stop homing. So would me father. There was only one consolation.
What was that?
Our wedding day. We woke up to thunder. We ended with monsoons, and in between times me Uncle Hitchcock got struck by lightning. Oh, tragic, Carter. Tragic, lad.
Aye. How did it happen?
Well, you see, lad, he were a very obliging sort, were me Uncle Hitchcock, and he were doing someone a favour. He were wearing in a set of false teeth for an elderly neighbour. Stainless steel they was. Well, he happened to be standing outside the church just at the moment the bridal humber drew up. Out stepped my putative bride in all her horrendous glory, and poor Uncle Hitchcock just could not contain himself, Carter. A great, broad grin spread across his face from ear to ear. And then it happened. A fearsome clap of thunder, and a bolt of lightning struck him slap on the dentures. Well, he was killed stone dead. Well, he hadn't bothered to earth them, had he? Poor old Uncle Hitchcock. That's what comes of having a sense of humour. Well, it didn't stop the ceremony, though.
No?
No. The wife's mother said she was buggered if she was going to waste all the boiled ham and sherry trifle. And besides, Uncle Hitchcock wasn't her side of family. And when we came out of the church after the deed was done, there was this great, gaunt, skeletonal cedar tree in the graveyard, all glum and brooding. And on its very topmost branch was this enormous black carrion crow. He looked down on me, and he narrowed his eyes, and he opened his beak, and he went, "Walk, walk, walk." And I thought to myself, there goes joy, there goes happiness. Walk, walk, walk.